It's a case of citizens versus the state. A legal battle is looming in George in the Western Cape following failed attempts by residents to force government to scrap a multi-million rand development which concludes university as well at the Garden Route Dam. The Provincial Environmental Affairs and Development Planning Department rejected their appeals over the weekend. Our sources claim that the provincial government has ignored possible serious social and environmental implications of the project. But are the Garden Route residents preventing development to protect their exclusive lifestyles? What about the poor communities that are likely to benefit from this development? And why is the government so adamant to proceed despite the indicated serious implications of this project? Unfortunately, both the municipality and the provincial government has declined the interview, citing, amongst others, potential legal action. Our question this evening for you is, are the rich and powerful in Garden Route residents hellbent on preventing development to protect their lifestyle? Let's welcome our guest this evening. Tracy Farrow is the founder and developer of the Garden Route 101 and a community member as well. We're also joined this evening by Desiree Dupree, who is an environmental scientist. And we had invited ANC Ward 15 Councillor George Bonisile Hani. We hope that he'll be able to join us. And as we've indicated, we've also invited the provincial and the municipal government. They are not available. But thank you for choosing us this evening. And remember that you can be part of the conversation by going on to our social media pages. It is at Unfiltered for Twitter. That is at Unfiltered SABC. And then on Facebook, all you have to do is go on to our Facebook page and search for Unfiltered SABC. Good evening, and thank you so much for making time for us. Tracy, let's start off with you. So there's an email that came from the MEC for Environmental Affairs in the province and local government as well. And he has outrightly rejected the appeals that have come from residents and various organizations. What do you make of this decision?
Well, I think we're all extremely disappointed. You know, the issue is not just about black versus white, rich versus poor. This is about water. It's an issue that affects every single person living in this region. And South Africans on the whole know what it's like to experience water shortages. Everything that they're proposing is putting our water source at risk. They're not able to, in our opinion, provide us with information that supports this kind of development and say to us that this is actually sustainable in any way. You know, if you look at the size of the dam and the growth of the population in the region, the dam hasn't grown at all. The water supply is under threat. There's alien vegetation that is blocking the waterways leading to the dam. And not much gets done about that. But the minute there's an opportunity to add yet another development to the region, they're very quick to put them through and make sure that the community at large is unaware of their intentions. So this is not an issue of me being a Karen or whatever, where you sit there and say, oh, well, we don't want this on our doorstep. We are more concerned about the fact that our water supply is at risk. Our municipality is failing us in terms of providing infrastructure that can provide clean water to the existing population. So we feel that it's something that we need to fight for, and it's not for just a small group of people, it's for the entire community of George. Unfortunately, most residents are unaware of what the municipality is proposing. So, you know, we've taken it upon ourselves to try and get the message out there and let people know what's going on in their backyard. Yeah. Because most people don't know.
What do you say to the argument, for instance, in the MEC's opposition to the appeals that have come through, that one of the reasons that this development is important, for instance, is the proposal of having a site that is allocated to specifically deal with building a university or a research campus, which would be of benefit to the people of George and surrounding areas?
Well, we have a university. We have a beautiful university. It's Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University, and it's located about 5 kilometers from the dam. It's got all the infrastructure in place. And in fact, the university also lodged an appeal against the development because they feel they have the infrastructure and they have the space where they can expand these facilities and provide more faculties or whatever's needed. You know, there's no need to go and take a beautiful green belt that benefits everyone in the community and turn it into yet another development that could put our water source at risk. You know, everybody who opens a tap and drinks water gets that water from the dam. So if they continue to develop around the dam, all they're going to do is create more problems there. The infrastructure leading to the dam, there's a river called the Cut River, and there's ailing, what do you call it, sewerage facilities that constantly leaks, and then that flows into the dam. So what we're saying is that we are 100% behind looking for alternative locations, but why use our main water source, which is very limited, to create such a big development? There are many other areas that could be used for that, including an existing university.
All right. Desiree, from your end as an environmental scientist, what would you say are some of the red flags in the proposal that has been made by the state, or would you argue that everything has been covered by the state in terms of its approach to this development? Hi, Desiree, can you hear me? Okay, we seem to have a problem there with that line to Desiree. But Tracy, let me go back to you. You raised the issue around the waterway, and again in that email or the letter that came from the MEC, he says that as such, and in light of these issues related to the sewage spills into the Cut River, it was recommended that in order to avoid these incidents, the one pump station will be placed downstream on the Garden Route Dam, and the other pump station will be set back from the dam and above a berm channel that will direct any accidental sewage spillage away from the dam. Is that not assurance enough that your primary water source will be protected?
No, definitely not. You know, beyond those regions are other beautiful rivers and areas with forests and whatnot, and those are at risk because if the sewage starts to spill further downstream, it goes all the way out to the sea. It goes through all those natural tributaries that are lying beneath the dam, and it causes huge problems. On a weekly basis, we get messages about sewage spills in the Guang River, in Kaiman's River, and this region relies on tourism for its revenue. Most of the industry here is either agricultural or tourism related, and if those two have to deal with dirty water or toxic water or water with E. coli in it, it obviously impacts on our livelihoods.
Okay, and we have Desiree back. Desiree was asking, as an environmental scientist, if you look at the report from the government as well as the municipality, are you satisfied with the research that has been done, and also looking at the argument that is being put forward by the MEC in the province as well, in that he says that the delegated competent authority is satisfied from their end with the research that has been done, and also some of the mitigating infrastructure that will be implemented? Desiree, if you just can please unmute.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now, yeah.
Okay, as an environmental scientist, I can say that we can see flaws in the impact assessment. I'm not going to say clearly what they are, what we see, because they have to be tested. We're speaking to an environmental advocate. So we're not fully satisfied with the research. Well, for instance, the water use license has not been approved because of certain issues that has not been properly addressed. And the Department of Water and Sanitation was not satisfied that those issues are adequately addressed. And also with the mitigation measures, I mean, for instance, a condition that a pump station must be moved. How do you move a pump station without affecting the entire development? The pump station must sit at the lowest place. Either the entire development must be redesigned, or the applicant must just apply for amendment of the environmental authorization. So we're not satisfied that that is an adequate mitigation measure.
Okay.
So yes, we do definitely see problems with this environmental authorization.
Okay, and when we come back, Desiree, if you can please, maybe on one or two of those glaring ones that you look at and you're like, oh, but this is something that should have been covered from the onset. We'll cover those when we come back. Remember that you're going to also be part of the conversation by going onto our social media sites. That is on Twitter, it is at Unfiltered SABC, and also on Facebook it is Unfiltered SABC. Any of your comments and what your take is on this development that is supposed to be taking place in George? Do you also believe that this is just another case where the wealthy are trying to protect their exclusive lifestyles? And welcome back to Unfiltered, as we have a conversation looking at a proposed development along the Garden route. This is in the Western Cape. In conversation this evening with the environmental scientist Desiree Dupree, as well as Tracy Farrell, who is a member of the community in George. Desiree, just quickly on some of the glaring omissions that you would say that the report or the assessment failed to deal with, and perhaps also answering the question that I had for Tracy a bit earlier on.
Yes, if I can, the one issue that we've picked up, and we actually commented on it, that in our comments on the scoping report, is that the screening tool, that's a compulsory document that must be generated, identifies the endemic Africalis naisna, the naisna leaf-folding frog, as a potential animal that could occur in the area. And a specialist study confirming or not should have been commissioned. There was no study looking at that at all. And in terms of species protocols and the regulations, that's an omission. And in fact, this little frog actually caused another development in George by province and municipality combined to be stopped, and they still haven't got the approval to go ahead. So this is a potential significant issue.
Okay. And then there was also the issue around some of the fauna and flora, and more specifically looking at the leopard, and the argument again from the MEC and the delegated team as well was that the delegated competent authority was that these animals would gravitate towards the mountain area, meaning that their lives won't really be that affected by this development.
Well, if I look at the broader issues, I sort of agree with that. Yes, they do utilize the dam area. They have been found there. So yes, it will reduce their habitat range, but most probably not significantly. I know they have also been found at Sarsveld campus area. So I don't think that they will be affected as significantly. No.
Okay, and Tracy, from your end, do you know who's behind the push to actually have this development done? Because if you look at the statement that was issued by the municipality, they argue that it's not the municipality that's going to be funding this development. But then also they go on to say it is again emphasized that council does not intend to develop the land itself, nor are there any interested investors, irrespective of the potential land rights. It sounds a bit strange for me that you would go ahead with such a huge development, yet you don't have any interested investors, and yet you, as the owner of the land, are saying at the same time that you won't be investing any money into these projects. So who's behind it?
Well, this is exactly what our questions have been all along. We've kind of said to them, well, if you're not planning to develop it, why are you spending millions on this development, on impact assessment studies and coming up with drawings of what it's all going to look like? Could that money not have been better spent creating better infrastructure, for the more impoverished communities even? So we started to ask those questions, and the biggest problem was that the municipality refused to engage with us. Every time we tried to have meetings with them, they were declined. We then decided we would try to get the residents to band together, and we embarked on a program literally in about a period of 7 or 8 days, where we actively went around the dam area and told people, and nobody knew about it. I think possibly the municipality will say that it was during COVID, so therefore people weren't aware, or whatever excuses they want to make. But the reality is that they just refuse to engage with us.
Well, they insist, Tracy, in that statement again, that there was consultation that took place, and this project was started back in 2014 already.
Yes, this has been something that they've been trying to push through for years, and very few residents actually know about it. I only became aware of it because of my neighbor telling me about it, and then we all decided to take action and start to let the rest of the people of George know in whatever way we could. So we did our best to do what essentially should have been the company who was appointed to do the study. They should have been making sure that they had public meetings and we could go and ask questions, but they never did. Mm-hmm. So, of course, we all start to speculate. Why? Why the secrecy? Why the lack of engagement? Why don't they want to sit down with us and listen to our grievances, if you want to call them that, or our concerns, and address them? Why not involve the people who basically voted them into power to come and protect our area and to develop it in a way that is sustainable for everyone?
Okay.
You know, okay.
Okay. No, when we come back, we're going to get some closing remarks from our panelists this evening, also asking what they believe the way forward should be, or could there potentially be another opportunity to say, let's restart the process. You remember with the e-tolls in Gauteng, it was after residents and motorists in Gauteng province were up in arms that the process was restarted again. However, though, that also had to go through the courts. Is this potentially the route that these residents in George would be following? That conversation when we come back. Getting closing remarks from my panelists this evening. Desiree, let's start off with you. What message would you like to get across to the Western Cape government as well as the George municipality? And do you think restarting the process would be prudent?
Well, we're definitely going investigating legal review as the Gondru Dam Action Group. And concluding statement about that issue of privileged people stopping development for green space. Just after environmental authorization was issued, the private Destiny Africa development that was previously approved was liquidated. It had the same components as the development at the dam. So why was that liquidated? That's a huge development that's not going to take place because the municipality is competing with them. Mm-hmm. That's not the place of the municipality. And the municipality was using municipal public funds to do it at risk, while they could have had a private developer, if there was someone interested in the land, to pay for this money, to benefit the public.
Yeah. Okay, and Tracy, from your end, closing remarks, and also looking at one thing is sure, though, is that whatever development does happen, that there will be jobs that are created, but having to balance this out as well.
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, there are plenty of jobs to be created with all kinds of things that are happening in George. I think George is considered the fastest growing town in the country. And people are wanting to move here. So we do understand that they want to develop the region, and we're not at all against that. What we are against is not securing our water source and making sure that we have the necessary infrastructure to support bigger population in the area. And the other thing I just want to add in closing is that, I mentioned earlier that we tried on numerous occasions to engage with the municipality. They never once wanted to join us and meet us and talk to us. Tonight was another opportunity where they could have had their say, and they're not here. Yeah. So I think that speaks volumes. And this is what we are saying, that as a democracy, people that live in a town that elect the officials that are running that town should be able to engage with them and discuss things that they're not happy about.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Tracy Farrow there, as well as Desiree Dupree. And thank you so much for choosing Unfiltered with me, Aldrin St. Pierre. We're back again next week, Monday, same time, same place, right here on S3. Tot ziens. Enjoy the rest of your evening.